live, all right?
Okay, wonderful.
And we're just gonna go with it. Let you, tell us, how you got to where you are right now in the sense of your injury and everything. Like your cerebral palsy. So, Matt, wait,
We're
cerebral?
going.
Yeah,
Sure.
my bad. We're live.
Cerebral
Sorry.
palsy. Yeah, we're live now.
Yeah.
We're live. So, yes, welcome everyone. All right, Mark, another week, and I can tell you're on the road. So what's up, Mark? How are you?
Doing good, buddy. How are you doing? How's everything in New York City?
It's hot, man. It's like 100 degrees today, but I like it hot. I know a lot of people don't, I'd rather it be hot than cold.
As an amputee, man, I hate the heat. My wife too. She's the quad, and other amputees. We don't like the heat, man. We don't. I'm out in Branson. I'm out in Branson, Missouri right now, and it's toasty out here too, man. You can see the sun coming through my shades of the RV. But typical introduction for those that don't know, Matt. Give them a brief rundown about your story. What you have going on and what United Spinal has happening right now.
Yeah, man. So welcome everyone. I'm Matthew Casaluccio. I'm from New York. I work for United Spinal. I'm a spinal cord injury survivor for 22 years now. I love sports, and I'm a father of twin boys and a husband, and I linked up with Mark and we launched this podcast, and we're hoping to bring together everyone together to share resources. Mark, share a little bit about what's going on, and then I'll give you an update on United Spinal, what's going on there.
Yeah, so I'm Mark Fuqua. I'm a Boston Marathon bombing survivor and above the knee, right leg amputee, left limb salvaged. The big 3.5 years of recovery in and out of hospitals, no weight bearing. So I was a wheelchair user, still am a wheelchair user. I love sports like you, Matt. I mono ski, I play sled hockey, I Spartan races, I hand cycle marathons. I enjoy life, right? Let's get out there and do stuff. Me and you have so much in common. Meeting you at the Abilities Expo and continuously engaging in conversation. I love your passion for bringing the community together. I have that same passion, and the people that we have on the show, they have that same passion. They just are out there living life to the fullest, and we want others to see that. I am in the RV. Me and my son are doing a little summer road trip. I drove the RV from Texas to Boston, waited for him to finish school. Me and him drove to Chicago, the Abilities Expo, where we've met, me and you on numerous occasions. So we just finished that this weekend here in Chicago, Schaumburg, in Illinois, and me and my son stopped here down in Branson, Missouri. We had a great day doing Top of the Rock and golf cart tour and seeing some beautiful sights. But my main thing is I'm looking really forward to talking to our guest. The Marc Network is growing after this weekend, promoting it. We had a ton of new users, amazing people at the Abilities Expo. Matt, I mean, you hear the stories from families, and your heart just, melts. And the people we meet are just amazing people doing some amazing things.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, I love your mission through the Marc Network. It totally aligns with United Spinal about creating an environment, a community, bringing us all together, right? United Spinal right now has about 150 people down in Washington, D.C. right now, meeting with our congressional leaders from their state to discuss some of the challenges and issues that we all face, and trying to get the congressional leaders to understand the importance of considering all, especially our disability community, when looking at policies and making changes. So it's a wonderful thing. It's called Roll on the Capitol Hill. It happens every year in June. So, if you are interested, next June we send out invites in the beginning of the year. So keep an eye out for it. And I hope that you guys will join us. So, I mean, Mark, you want to introduce our guest? Who?
Yeah, Zach Anner. I don't know if you've seen this viral video that he had back in, I think, 2017, the Rainbow Bagel, like in New York City, going through just challenges and trying to get to this location to get this bagel. It's just an amazing, it just shows you and gives you a lot of insight of what people been through. I mean, Zach is, doing so much more, and he's, just killing it, being an advocate. He's backstage right now waiting to come in. So why don't we give our introduction and everybody a warm welcome to Zach Anner.
Hello.
What's up, Zach? How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's wonderful that you're able to broadcast from the RV, Mark. That's awesome.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah, we're live on the mobile app, the free mobile app that we have for our community. We're on United Spinal's Facebook page. It's, just trying to bring everybody together from so many different locations.
That is wonderful. If I had known you were from Boston, I would have worn my socks hat today.
Oh boy. I thought you're from New
sorry,
York,
you're from
Zach.
New York. So is this a topic that we can't discuss, being that we're bringing people together from New York and Boston?
I thought you were a New Yorker. I thought you were born upstate.
Okay, so I can give you something to both hate me about. I'm a Buffalo Bills fan.
Oh,
I love the Bills.
I think you should.
I like the Bills.
I love the Bills. It's just a shame they can't make it past the.
Well, I remember, so we had this issue called the Patriots for about 15 years or so. And then I also remember that the New York Giants beat us in the first Super Bowl that led to the 4 straight losses. So you both, have something on me. So hopefully that can unite you two back together.
Well, I hate to say it, but I'm a Kansas City fan.
You're a Kansas City too? What kind of New Yorker are you?
Well, listen, I kept getting, very depressed after watching the Bills make it down to the wire and then blow it. So, but I do love Jeff Allen. He's fantastic. And,
I think it's Josh Allen, but I'm sure Jeff Allen is nice too.
Sorry.
Zach, I love your energy, Zach. Zach, I would love you to give, for those that are here watching right now or that are going to watch this episode, give us a little background, about yourself, truly,
sure.
And the progression of your situation and how.
Absolutely. Where do I start? So I was born in 1984. And shortly after that birth, which I botched because I was several months premature, I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, which basically means that I have problems with fine motor skills and also use a wheelchair and can't walk unassisted. And let's see, I'm a high school and college dropout. I have a doctorate from Walt Disney World, so that's my only degree. And then in 2010, I competed on a reality show and got to make a travel series on the Oprah network. And then from there, I became a YouTuber, and you got to see things like Rainbow Bagel and stuff with my work with the Cerebral Palsy Foundation. And then I became a TV writer. So I'm a YouTuber and a television writer. I've written on shows like Speechless and an Apple TV Plus show called Best Foot Forward. And I'm currently writing features. So that's basically 40 years of my life summed up in 2 minutes. Wow. The more important thing, though, is I just recently got married to the love of my life, Carly Curran.
Right.
So
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It's something that I never thought would be in the cards for me. And then I met this wonderful, just like, who's married in the group?
Yeah.
Everyone's married. I can't tell you how excited I am to be married, and specifically to Carly. It's been, I think if I don't do anything else with my life, being Carly Kern's husband is
awesome.
the best thing I could ever do.
How long you been married?
Been married. Let's see. I think it is 4 months and 20 days.
Wow.
Yeah, newlyweds.
Newlyweds.
So Zach, let me just start off. You didn't botch your birth by being 7 months premature. You just had so much energy. You just had to get out there in the world. That's what it seems to me.
That's what I was thinking, Mark. I totally was thinking the same thing.
I mean, I was just, it's the only time I've ever shown up early for anything. So I'm glad that I started off. I just had to be in the world. You're right. But
I gotta tell you.
And that's it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mark. What were you gonna say?
No, it's just you were early once, and that's it. Because you were about 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes late for the.
I was.
You were making me nervous, man.
I know. You like show up at 7:20. I was like, well, that seems like 7:27 to me.
Yeah. Hey,
but
better late than never.
You got here, and that's what listen, and I am also always late. Talk to my wife. She's type A. She needs to be 20 minutes early, and inevitably we're 25 minutes late for everything. But, one of the things you mentioned that really turned me on to like knowing you and really being impressed was that video, Rainbow Bagel. Somebody forwarded it to me and said, hey, have you seen the quest for Rainbow Bagel? What is this? And being from New York, I'm like, he's like, no, it's a New York adventure. And I watched that, and it summarized. I mean, it was beautifully done. It was humorous.
Thank you.
I mean, you nailed it, and you nailed in a way that didn't kind of jam down people's throat the challenges we face, but brought awareness to it,
See, I think that's the key is you have to be able to invite people to care about things. Because if I was just playing sad music and saying, oh, it's impossible to get around New York City, that's not fun. And I think I try to live my life with a sense of joyful grit, and go through the struggle, but also try and make it fun because we've only got one life to live. So if we're going to have to deal with challenges, then that has to be part of the fun.
So Zach,
Mark, I'm sorry. Go.
I'm sorry. No, but Zach, one of my biggest beliefs is as a person facing mobility challenges myself, in watching the community engage and my wife actually, Zach feels the same way. She was born with no arms and no legs. That's how, and she never knew if she'd ever get married. And when I met her, stunning, most beautiful, amazing, Texas A&M college graduate, like just this unbelievable person, big heart. And we've been married now for coming up on 4 years. So I get that.
Awesome.
And she talks about what you're mentioning is let's not work against people and be the negative and miserable. Like, let's work together with people and let's, just take these challenges on and get through them. And that's one of my big missions is not working against the, like a corporation. Like you go to a baseball field, right? Like the Red Sox, right? If you're just asking and be nice, they'll try everything in their power because people truly do want to help. I'm a marathon bombing survivor. I mean, and people genuinely want to help you. And we were the biggest beneficiaries of support, when we got hurt. And I love your attitude with that. And I did see that with that. And I knew that was your type of personality. You have one like my wife and myself. Like, let's not be a certain way. Let's be
I think, I don't know if you've experienced this, but because you weren't born with your disability, did you find that your perspective on life and people changed post becoming disabled?
Yes, it did. 100%.
Because my general experience has been like, yeah, you'll get a few people who are just being dicks, but the vast majority of people are trying their best. So I try to meet people where they are, and if they say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, I'm not going to be somebody who shames someone else for trying to engage with something that's new to them. So I really do try to make myself accessible and get people on my team, because I really do think that humanity is a team sport.
I agree with you 100%. I think, your method, I always say people don't know. So, and, if you just come at them with aggression, it's going to turn them off, and it reflects poorly on our community as a whole. But if you bring awareness, you educate, you empower, that is the key to creating difference and change and acceptance. And people don't know. I had a guy come up to me once and ask me to help me with my wheelchair, and I said to get in the car, and I was like, no, I got it. And he thought I was just casting him off, and he was like, well, fine then. And I said, no. And I stopped him. I said, let me just explain. The reason I, do it this way so that I put it in one way, and I know when I get to the place, it goes into my car the same way I take it out, so you're, and he's like, oh, I didn't understand that. And I said, yeah. And, and then, he hadn't understand. He left knowing, like, next time ask, you can always ask, just, understand this is why some people might say, no, I don't need it right now.
Yeah. And I think it really, I just never want people to be scared to engage and to ask the questions. And I know that some people are just exhausted by it because they've lived a different experience. And I don't want to discount when people have a hard time and feel like they're constantly having to explain. But I feel like that's something I can take on with the life I've been given and the tools I've been given. And I think that it's sort of my responsibility to, if I can dispel some
stereotypes.
Yeah, stereotypes and help people get past that, then I feel like that's worthwhile to spend the extra few minutes.
Sure.
I agree, Zach. Real quick.
Sorry, Mark.
You go, Matt. It's up to you.
Well, I just, when you're done, I was wondering if we can show a little clip of, the Rainbow Bagel quest.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
So we have it pinged up. So the biggest thing with me, Zach, is most people, no matter what they say to me, I always take it as long as it's not coming from hate or disrespect, then sometimes, because words and things and terminology changes and it become offensive, so people never know what to do or what to say. So if they're like, oh man, is it hard being disabled? And people are like, well, I'm not disabled, and I'm like, the guy's not really coming at you in a negative way. It's just that's his word that was maybe appropriate at the time he was, growing up or whatever. So I always take everything with, like, if it's not coming from hate, you can call me anything you want. Ask me, do whatever.
I'm the same way. way. And at the same time, if I feel like it's everybody's right to be offended by what they want to be offended by. And I just always say, like, this is my experience, but it doesn't mean it's universal for everyone who has cerebral palsy or a disability. But this is where I would meet you. But it's just like, I have a general rule of, like, people always ask me how to interact, or what is the type of interaction. I'm just like, if you see a person, be a person. That's basically
100%.
all I can tell you.
Great way to put it. Great way to put it.
Be a person. Just talk to me. Ask me questions. Talk to me. Whatever.
If you got,
I mentor
curiosity.
Go ahead.
right? No, what were we
It's the
gonna
same thing
say?
I was just gonna say, Matt. We're saying me and Matt share a brain, Zach. Because I was gonna say I mentor kids with missing limbs and limb differences, and also spinal cord injuries and all types of disabilities through numerous nonprofits. And the biggest thing when we mentor these kids, you know, a lot of them younger and their moms and dads, they get really defensive, and it's like most people are just honestly interested. You know what I mean, and want to understand. And you know, these kids will look at me and say, oh, I didn't think of it like that. I'm like, yeah, wouldn't you want to, like, you asked me questions about my leg. Like, wouldn't, you know, like they're asking you questions too, just like you're, you know, you're inquisitive and you're, you know, you're interested in on how I do things. I said, these people and these younger kids too, are just don't get defensive, you know, see where they're at and feel them out, you know, and
Yeah.
Matt, and like
Yeah,
Matt
that's
was saying
so
the same thing,
important.
inquisitive. Yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, if you don't mind, do you want to run that clip so we could show some of Zach's great work and where my little fanfare started with, you know, with Zach?
With Zach. His man crush, Zach.
Today we're just like, we'll do something real simple.
That's
like
fine.
go
I
and
don't
get a bed.
judge.
We've been waiting to go downstairs for about 25 minutes now. All of the elevators that have come by have been full. There's other elevators in this hotel, but we can't get to them because there's stairs to the elevator. Hi. I think maybe we should improvise, guys.
Oh, God.
Me and my wife run into the elevators being full all the time.
Hi.
Okay. It only took an hour to get from my room to downstairs.
How can I help?
Yeah, so that's before we even get out into New York.
Yeah. You're already.
Yes.
No wonder why you're late, Matt, Zach. No wonder why you're always late.
I wish there was a broken elevator I could blame for me being late today. But generally, it's just my ADHD and my personality. But I think like what was really strange about the day of filming Rainbow Bagel is I don't know if everyone's seen the video, but spoiler alert. So we go on this 3-hour journey to this. It's not a real New York bagel shop. It's for Instagram basically, and it's all the way in Brooklyn. We get all the way to Brooklyn by taking the ferry, and then we find that the bagel shop itself is not accessible. But what was funniest about that to me is when we first got to the bagel shop, and it was about 20 degrees in New York. Because we filmed it in January, and our crew was just so despondent because they had anticipated that we would make a triumphant trip to the bagel shop, and they were thinking, oh, we're going to have to call the organization and tell them that we didn't actually get the video we wanted. And my producer Jillian Grassi and I, we were talking, and we were like, we've got to give these people a pep talk because this is actually the perfect ending to this. That we've come all this way, and then it's 3 steps up to the bagel shop still. And like I was like, this is actually a gift because I couldn't imagine a better ending than we've gone through all these hoops and we can't even get into the shop.
It drove the point home. Your whole
I mean that's like every other day in mine and my wife's life. Like you get somewhere, it's like, oh, you can't even park, and it's like you can't get away, and can't get in the building. We got to go somewhere else for dinner.
It's just like I think I feel like you can't really prepare for every possibility because there's just so many variables, but life with a disability does teach you that anything is possible. So you kind of have to know that at some point life is going to go wrong and you have to be able to have a good time anyway.
Yeah.
So I
You got
think it's like the Marine Corps is like adapt and overcome, right? Like, I mean, that should be our motto is adapt and overcome, you know, because we always have to adapt, change our thing and overcome these challenges every day.
Yeah.
Like, and not just once a day. It'll be 100 times a day.
Yeah.
So-
and sure, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go, Zach. What were you
No,
gonna
I
say?
was going to say, like, in terms of overcoming, when I was growing up, there was a lot of this talk about like overcoming disability, and like that was the narrative. And I've found that I haven't overcome my disability at all. I obviously still disabled, but but I have embraced it in a way that allows me to deal with, if anything, I've overcome the societal challenges that are in place that are related to living life with the disability. The disability itself is not so much of a challenge anymore. It's just we're living in a world that's not necessarily set up for us. And the only times I actually feel, quote, disabled are when like the things that are supposed to be in place societally all of a sudden aren't. You know, not being able to find an accessible restroom or something like that. And then it's like, oh, now I understand how most people think my whole life is.
Yeah.
So what do you think? How do we make those changes? How do we bring the awareness, in your opinion?
I think the thing that I keep coming back to is we will all be disabled at some point. We will all deal with these challenges at some point in our lives if we're lucky. So it's not about making the world accessible so that people with disabilities can, you know, join society. There's two ways to look at it. There are so many things that I bring to the table that if you have a venue or something that is not accessible, then you're missing out on me also. And I think that bringing that into the conversation, as like people with disabilities have so much to offer and a unique perspective and so much empathy, and the way that they see the world and have to adapt to it really gives them a leg up in so many arenas that I think it's not you like, oh, I'm going to make these changes and I'll be a great person because I'm making it accessible. No, you're actually going to be as enriched by having disabled people at the table as they would be by being with you. So I think like changing that narrative, and also like really driving home that this is something that we are all going to have to deal with in some fashion. So why not prepare and make the world more accessible to begin with? Because you know, like I hope to be an old decrepit man someday if I'm so lucky. You know, I just turned 40 and I would love to be 90 and be able to move throughout the world and still enjoy life.
Zach, Zach, oops, sorry. I say the same thing every day. It's not a matter of if that you face mobility challenges. It's a matter of when, if you live long enough, right? So why wouldn't we start, and everybody that isn't mobility challenged in the world should start gearing the world towards their future, you know? And it's, and the old saying, you know what, I'm sure, is like, everybody can use a ramp, not everybody can use stairs. And my buddy, my best friend's my brother, has an excavation company, and we move earth, you move dirt, you can position ramps in anything. I mean, except for like New York City and Boston, things are a little more challenging, but you can get creative and make things accessible. And And what you were talking about is being enriched by people with, disabilities being at the table. I tell everybody, as a person that was able-bodied and someone that is now not so able-bodied, and then having my wife who was born with her disability and seeing everything she accomplished, as a community, we need to come together in one location and fight this, even though our disabilities might be different, but our challenges are the same and similar. And a big thing that I say is, let's not rely on others to do stuff for us that we can do for ourselves in some sense. You know what I mean by that? Like, we can build our own community. We can build our own businesses. Like, don't hire me because I'm an amputee. You know what I mean? There are some things, that like, hey, I can do this. You should hire me because I can accomplish this just as well as the next guy. But I believe that we're capable. Like, you're so capable. Look what you just did in 2017 with just that one video. I'm saying, I know you've done so much more, and your voice is like amazing, and your talent and your entertainment and your writing skills. Like, there is no disability in that. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has that opportunity to file for an EIN, create a business, create a job, sell a product, get creative. And some I get, when you start going into like traumatic brain injuries and different stuff, you might not have that capability, but there are great resources like Easter Seals and United Spinal and different places to get that help. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, society needs to understand that they're going to be faced with these challenges, and they should do more, and they do benefit. Like, I would love to build a ramp for you to come hang out with me in the RV.
I would love to be in the RV. You know that I just learned a few years ago that Winnebago makes accessible RVs.
Mark and I were just talking about that the other week, about accessible. I wanted to take my kids RV and camping because my wife's not a tent person. So I figured it was a good balance. It's kind of like a moving hotel room. But it was really hard for me to find it. But out west, there's a couple of companies that do it. And, Mark and I were talking about getting all the companies on board to make at least one model accessible.
Oh,
what's that? What is that? Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's for people in wheelchairs. It's the picnic table at my accessible campground parking spot for my RV.
Oh,
let's take this show on the road, Mark. Let's do a.
We were actually talking to Winnebago about making a travel show, going around experiencing the country in an RV that was accessible. But unfortunately, we were talking to them in February of 2020, and then the pandemic hit and everyone stopped traveling. But I think it's so important to just I particularly with, for kids who have disabilities, to show them examples
and families
of living great lives, having families, showing, because these were even things that I didn't know were possible. And there were times when I was depressed because I felt like my world was going to be too small. And if only I could talk to the younger version of myself now, I would be like, not only is your life going to be great, it's going to be better than you ever could have imagined it.
I mean, you mentioned earlier about not thinking you were going to get married. I remember laying in the hospital bed at 26 after my injury, and I literally had the conversation with me that all my friends are getting married, and I never forget the day. And I said, I guess that's not in the cards for me, but I'll figure out how to deal with this disability and be by myself with the disability. And I was shrinking my world down to this narrow thing. And it wasn't until I saw videos and I started talking to people that I learned, there's this whole opportunity out there. And it's all about mindsets and wanting to do it and just figuring out the path to get to there. And I think that would be great if you could revisit that with Winnebago and,
It would be
and
so
Zach,
much
me and my
fun to
wife,
make.
I'm literally living that life with a
Yeah.
non-accessible vehicle where I pick my wife up and I put her on the step, and then I step up and pick her up, put her on the next step, and we make it work. Me and my wife.
That's
And
fantastic.
we were in,
See-
and I'm on one leg with the
See,
brace
that's
on
the
the other
thing.
leg.
That's the thing. Like, we're very good at making it work, but there's also
We
the
shouldn't
element
have
of
to.
we shouldn't have to, right? We will,
Yes,
Yeah.
we
I
will
agree.
adapt,
Yeah.
but
The
like,
technology's there. The technology's
Yeah.
there to do it.
It's, you know what? It's just a thought when there's one of the things that United Spinal, tries to drill into the heads of even these technology companies, everybody else is, don't make us an afterthought. Think about it up front. And it, like you said earlier, it's accommodating to all. If you incorporate it, if Winnebago had a ramp in, everyone could use that lift or that ramp or the door or whatever, and
It's the bathrooms
yeah,
are tough. I'm in the RV living it, and I can see
yeah.
how easy it is to make this accessible for my wife's wheelchair and me. But Zach, I would love. I have the statistics, the dollar amount, the numbers. I have the RV locations I've been to. I would talk to Winnebago with you, and we should push it for a duel side by side. We'll be running the country together. I just
that
had
would be
we
so
were in,
fun.
like I said, Grand Teton, and Grand Teton last year in Yellowstone National Park. And have you ever been to Yellowstone, Zach?
No, we were gonna do a tour of
so
all the national
accessible.
parks.
Oh, I've
It's
done
so
it.
accessible.
It's awesome.
Awesome.
It's so accessible.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It is
and
awesome.
and people with disabilities
wild.
get into the national parks for like
Yes.
pennies, right? So
You get the gold pass. You get the federal
Free.
gold pass, and
Free.
it's free.
Free.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And some parks
Zach,
will waive the camping fee.
Zach, what we
Wow.
always do is we get carried away, right? In this conversation, me and Matt, we end up talking a lot. We take away from our guests, unfortunately, because we get excited and we're passionate, and we both have that same message about. That's why I started the Marc Network. That's why he's with United Spinal, and we're trying to broadcast that message to our younger us, those new people coming up in the community. So I want to hear more about, like, where are you? Because Rainbow Bagel was 2017, and where are you right now? What are you really doing? What are you working on? And we're going to work on the Winnebago anyways. I've already been on the phone with Forest River, the other brand that builds, and I've told them they're going to come late to the party from Boston. So
Nice.
where are you right now, and what else have you been doing, and what do you got coming up?
Sure. Well, like I said, I wrote on a few TV shows, and right now I'm developing. There's some exciting developments. My writing partner Josh Flanagan and I are writing an action movie where the lead has a disability and uses a wheelchair. So
Sweet.
we are. It's like John Wick if John Wick used a wheelchair. So we're very excited about that. And I also wrote a horror movie this year. So like mainly on the writing side, but very much trying to get back into making things on camera. It's like one of those things that I fell out of doing when I was in the writer's room, and now I'm just getting back to it, and it's so exciting and fun. And I'm like, oh wait, this is kind of why I got into this, because I love communicating with people and building communities and things like that. So I'm still doing the writing stuff, but finally making videos again, and it feels really fun.
What is your connection with John Mayer? What is that? I saw online a little bit.
Okay, all right. I can go back to that. So in 2010, when I put up my audition video for the first travel show I wanted to do for the Oprah network, John Mayer posted a video and said that if I won that competition, he would do the theme song for my travel show. And he did like when I won that show, he did the theme song.
Wow.
So it was just incredible because like you never expect, like it's an amazing offer, but I'm like, what are the odds that one, I would win this and then he would be able to follow through? And the really, really cool thing that shows you just what an incredible person he is, like it was the last thing he recorded before he had to go in and have vocal surgery and wasn't able to speak or sing for months.
Wow.
So he was like, I got to get this done. So,
That
I
is
mean,
amazing.
forever a John Mayer fan.
Wow. Yes, we all are. We all are. That's amazing, man. That's really amazing. So the Oprah Winfrey, there's some controversy on the back end of that. What was it, voting something or other?
I don't even know. Like, here's I don't fully understand it, but I do remember it was a big to do because apparently, and I was not familiar with the communities at the time. Reddit did a lot of voting, and then there was like an anonymous community. I think I'm the most positive thing to come out of like 4chan, I think. So they were very aggressively voting for my video, but I didn't figure this out until years later, or like as I was like writing my book and stuff. But it's because they thought I was a prank.
Wow.
My name is Zach Anner, and they thought it was code for Z4channer, right? And they were like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a guy who's pranking Oprah, and he's probably not even disabled. So my whole career was based on a prank. But I feel like I've made the most out of it.
Hey, lemons, lemonade.
Yeah. You definitely did. I mean, have you always used humor as a tool?
Well, my whole family is funny. I'm the least funny member of my entire family. And so we would always, I grew up on comedy albums, and like it was just jokes around the dinner table. And it also like became clear pretty early that humor disarms people. And if I'm dealing with something, if I'm struggling with something, if I can make somebody laugh with me about it, then they're not keeping their distance or, God forbid, taking pity on me. If they know that I have a good attitude about it, then that's infectious.
Excellent.
Huh.
You know.
So your whole family's funny. I grew up with a family that likes to joke. I mean, I think it's like the Boston and New York thing. Is your family originally from New York?
My family is originally from Buffalo, but we had a lot of heartache around sports. So I think that's how we coped.
Yeah. You got to have a sense of humor there.
Listen, the Patriots had a lot of hot, in the Red Sox for a long, long time. Okay.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we have to have a sense of humor too.
My best friend went to medical school in Boston, and I remember watching that first World Series where they broke the curse, and he got me a Boston Globe from the day after, and I still have it. It's just like I always felt like, because you had the Patriots that at least showed you what it was like to win, but I felt a kinship with the Red Sox because I felt like we both had curses on us in some way. So so really I was so overjoyed. And then, I remember just like the feeling when they did it again. I'm like, okay, it's not just a fluke. They're going to be good for a while. And it was just very exciting. And sorry about the Yankees.
No, you're not. Zach, we should. Would you ever be interested in coming down into Boston and going to a Red Sox game?
Absolutely. You know what? I'm going to be in Boston this weekend, but you're going to be on the road.
Yeah, I might be. I might. This weekend's a little short notice. I was gonna say I could probably
Yeah, a
get
little
you
short
tickets
notice. I didn't know. Otherwise, I'll be back because my best friend, as I say, my best friend since third grade lives there.
So
Wow.
where do you live now?
I am currently living in Los Angeles. So I just I love the weather. I can't get over the weather. Every day I
Can't
step
beat it.
outside and I'm like, this is gorgeous. When it's
And I
not on
guess if-
fire.
I guess if you're a writer and in TV and all that stuff, that's the heart of where you want to
It
be.
kind of
right?
is the place to be, yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Is it
and it's-
accessible there?
Oh, where I am, it's very accessible.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the thing that I've realized, like the key for me to living a life that I enjoy is living in a quote walkable neighborhood. So like that's always the thing for me is I got to be able to get outside and get everything I need. So it means living in cities mostly.
So we have a lot of comments happening. I haven't know if you guys. So Zach, if you click on comments, you'll see a lot of people saying hi in the comments, watching the show.
Oh,
Matt, I don't know
nice.
if you've seen. Yeah, a lot of people. You probably
I'm in
know
private
Julia,
chat.
Chris.
Hold on.
Yeah, you're in the wrong
I
chat.
gotta-
You're in our private chat. You got to bounce
I'm
back
in the
and forth.
private
Yeah.
chat.
Stephanie,
Wow.
And you got
Paul.
a fellow Los Angeles resident, Paul Bowers.
Hi, Paul.
Jason. Nice. So yeah, this Pats and Socks, lovable. Yeah, I mean, so we have a lot of people here. Are you got Echo Park. He's
Yeah,
in
this
Echo
is
Park.
what
He
Paul
says the
Nice.
sidewalks are pretty bad. But I love to shout out people that are on here watching, showing support. I got my buddy Jason on the Marc Network, firing off questions too and saying what's up to everybody and hi. We have a great little community, Zach. We just launched this podcast. The Marc Network truly just launched and started growing. And United Spinal has done some alterations and changing, right, and moving parts to really get back in with their chapters and their community members. So yeah, we love you being on. We appreciate everything. Is there anything that you like anything that you want to promote? Any organizations
That I want to
anything
promote
like that?
Okay, well, I'm part of a
event.
yeah, sure. Well, I'm part of a trivia podcast called Answer For It that's completely irreverent and has nothing to do with disability, really, unless I bring up something. But it's so fun, so you should check that out. And then, I guess just when you go to the movies, look for my name in the credits, and if you're involved in an organization that has speakers come, I love speaking around the country. So those, I guess that's all I would plug, like the podcast and the fact that I want to come speak to you.
And
What
you're
is the name of the
bidet
podcast again?
Answer For It.
Answer for it.
Answer for it is
Answer
the
For It.
podcast.
Yeah, if you like comedy and podcasts and learning things about stuff that you don't really need to know, then you should check it out.
Definitely.
I'm gonna put it in our private chat so I can right there. Answer for it.
Oh, you found it. You found it already.
Kirk in the background. We got the guy running the studio there.
Wow.
Has never ran
Way
a
to
studio
go,
before,
Kirk.
but he's
You had
Yeah,
that locked and loaded.
Yeah.
oh no, he found it. He was listening and he was searching right away. But yeah, Zach, we'd love to have you. We're coming up on the 8:30 mark here, 10 minutes out. What would be a message that you have to send with our community? Sorry, Matt. I'm excited. Like I love your energy. And that I always get excited. I'm so passionate. So is Matt. And that's why we have so much in common. But
yeah.
I've been really looking forward to talking to you and And I know we need to have you back on. Would you be willing to come back on and we could talk
Of
about
course,
like
of course. This is a really easy lift for me to be in my apartment talking to people I enjoy. So anytime, but I guess I would just, leave you with the fact that you have such a great community. I always say, I'm not a self-made man, I'm a community-made man. And in times like these that are uncertain, being able to rely on that community is so important. And I think I'm glad to be connected in this way, and I'm so grateful that you had me on. So anytime, whether it's from an RV or not, I would be happy to come back.
I hope all three of us are in an RV.
And
at the same
well,
time.
if all three of us are in an RV and we're doing a podcast, then we've definitely escalated our friendship.
That's it.
So
no, a toy hauler. We just drive in the back of a toy hauler and all three of our wheelchairs.
Absolutely, let's do it. And I also would love to say that the Rainbow Bagel shop that was inaccessible never became accessible, but it closed. So that is the silver lining. And the bagel itself was terrible.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you that question. Was it worth
it? Was the worst bagel. New York City has the best bagels, and I traveled for 3 hours in the cold to get the worst one just because it looked pretty on Instagram.
Why January? Why, of all the months of the year?
No, I was doing it with the Cerebral Palsy Foundation, and for some reason they were like, we think it would be great to explore this in the cold. And my legs are just for show, so there's not a lot of like padding on them. So I was very, very cold.
Oh, I can only imagine. Well, listen, Zach, awesome. I mean, you've definitely, I checked off one of my bucket list things that I got to actually talk with you, because I've watched your video, I've shared it, I've shared other clips about you.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on. Once again, we're running your foundation, the Cerebral Palsy Foundation. I know you're the ambassador for them. You're also involved with another organization that I mentioned. I don't know if you still are with the United. Are you still part of the United Cerebral Palsy Wheels for Humanity?
Well,
program?
Now there's still Wheels for Humanity, and they still do great stuff. But I'm not sure if United Cerebral Palsy is still involved. But they do amazing things, getting wheelchairs out into communities where you wouldn't normally see them. So their overhead is so low that every dollar that they make goes into making those chairs. So when I visited Nicaragua with them, I was just so impressed. So Wheels for Humanity, great organization, getting people out in the community, getting them the chairs they need. So that's always worth supporting.
It's so important that these organizations do those things, because you take for granted what we have. I know there's problems here in this country with accessing equipment and stuff, but we still have far more access than many people in these other countries, these third world countries, who are rolling around. And I saw one guy rolling around in a lawn chair with wheels that he created in a backyard, and that's how he was getting around. I mean, it just boggles my mind. And to be able to get chairs in their hands is amazing. I just want to give a shout out. Yeah,
which is a great introduction to our next week's, not next week. So in 2 weeks on Tuesday, same place, same location. We have Thomas Quattar, I want to say. So he founded in 2023 the Mobility Independence Foundation, a nonprofit technology organization dedicated to improving the lives of individuals with disabilities by producing and directly just building open source accessibility technology, like to be able to build your own chair and get parts. And they have to just open source technology so it can be done cheaper. You don't have to wait for somebody. You get all the schematic specs, can buy the parts, put them together, trade parts. what an introduction you're talking about that to get out to the community, because that's literally 2 weeks our next guest.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. That is so cool.
Yeah,
And
no, it's
I'm there, and that's an important thing to remember, that there are, even no matter what else is going on, there are still so many people doing good work, trying to make a positive change and doing it. So remember that. It's easy to get despondent or cynical, but it doesn't really drive progress. So there are so many great organizations out there, so many great people doing incredible work.
exactly.
I agree.
Well said. Well said. Well, Zach, we're coming up to 8:30. Mark and I would like to thank you for coming on and joining us. As we said, you're welcome back anytime. I hope you will join us back, especially when you're finished writing your scripts and they're out there and they're hitting the movies and you're going big time. Don't forget about us.
Of course not. Never.
Yeah.
Hey, if you need an amputee playing in the movie with a bad Boston accent, like if you want to write a story about a baseball
Oh,
player that lost his
I
leg,
would. You don't tempt me, because I'll do it.
Hey, listen,
and
I'll bring you a bag.
I can shoot like John Wick.
I'll bring you a bag of New York bagels, good New York bagels, if you
Oh,
just write
yes,
in a
let's
little
do
part
it.
for me.
All right, I'll let either of you know if I'm in Boston or New York.
Definitely. Wait, no,
Please,
we'll meet up. We can go up. I'll meet you guys in Boston. We can go and watch, the Red Sox lose.
Yeah, to the
Oh,
Yankees. I had the keys to the city in Boston. I pick up the phone, and I've been blessed with so much support, man. People have been amazing. So if you are ever coming to Boston, definitely let me know. And I probably wouldn't be able to pull anything off this weekend coming up, but I'm sure you're busy anyways, right?
yeah. It's just a real quick trip, but I will definitely be back, because love that city, love New York. Even though I'm not the biggest Yankees fan, still love New York.
So in order to make sure that happens, you got to donate to places like the Cerebral Palsy Foundation and keep having the important conversations to make sure people like me can get access to whatever color bagels they want. I may have struggled getting this bagel today.
Kirk has been dying to play this. He loves you. He loves this video.
And friendship is what's really important.
I love this part.
Oh, shit. I just took a bite of that bagel. I barely knew the guy. Who cares?
That's the best way to close out. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you very much, Zach, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Like I said, you're welcome back anytime. We'll plan a gathering in person up in Boston and or down New York City, or both. And,
absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. This was so much fun. Have a great night. It's 5:30 here, so I'm going to Disneyland.
All right, my man.
Well, have a good one.
Be well.
Bye.
Goodbye. So, perfect. I mean,